It's the Black Real Estate Dialogue. Tune in. Tune in. Tune in. Tune in. Tune in.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Black Real Estate Dialogue podcast. Before we get into this episode, if you have not already, please subscribe on whichever platform you're listening to this on. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. Also, if you want to join the Bread Investing community, you can do so for just $1 in your first week. Go to blackrealestatedialogue.com or click the link below in the show notes. Very excited about this episode today. Here with me, I have Malik Carter out of Philly, aka Real Estate Coach Carter. Malik, thank you so much for joining the show today.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Definitely. So first, I would love if you can just introduce yourself, let the people know who you are.
All right. So once again, Malik Carter, Real Estate Coach Carter. I am a realtor, a developer, a landlord, in Philadelphia, and I just this summer did my first flip in Durham, North Carolina, and I'm working on building some houses in Salem, North Carolina, and now I'm working on a couple of new construction here in Philadelphia. So this is my life as real estate space. I'm also now I'm a real estate coach, like an actual coach now. My partner Justin, Cashflow Group.
Love it. So Malik, I'd love to hear more about growing up and what you saw, or maybe what you didn't see, that ultimately shaped your view of what it meant to build wealth as you grew up.
Yeah, so I'm fortunate in that, I was, raised with both my parents in the household, at least until I was 8, before they split. But on both sides of the family, we really understood generational wealth. Like, we still have the farm my mom was raised on, like, for over 100 years in the family. And we also still have the acres in Gloucester, Virginia that we've had since the Civil War on my dad's side. And that's still here. We still have it, original deed, everything. So we
Wow.
understood generational wealth. So I was able to see that. My mother, employee and a hustler. My dad was self-employed as a contractor, and then he also spent some time in the streets also, right? So, I got the hustle, honestly.
Wow, that's amazing. Talk to us about, you mentioned the farm that your mom grew up on, and also the land that on your dad's side that they had since the Civil War. Can you tell us more about that? Because that's pretty rare. We've had countless guests who talk about that, their family had land or houses, and once one person died in the bloodline, everything was liquidated because no one was really educated on how to keep and maintain this. Can you talk about, what you know about how they were able to keep that?
Yeah, for sure. So my mom's house, so it's a little easier to talk about that one because it was 200 acres. Now it's down like 105 acres or so, the farm. And no, it's definitely not deeded properly, but the heirs that are left know to at least as much as pay the taxes, right? They pay the tax, they sell the trees off, they do what they gotta do to make sure that there is no debt. Now, this generation is getting a little harder because my uncle passed away a couple of months ago. And so now it's like, okay, we gotta really do something because now he got kids, and once we get into the next generation, it's going to be crazy to recoup it. So we're actively, my mom's actively working on getting the paperwork right to transfer everything properly so we don't, lose it to taxes. So she's doing that now, right? Then, or just family squabbles. We're trying to get that taken care of. My dad's side, like I said, I don't even know what great grandfather, we actually got that land. It was a land they were slaves on.
Wow.
And this Malik Carter is Carter's Creek in Gloucester, Virginia. If you Google Maps it, there's a point that's our 40 acres right there. And we got that. Like, he was basically bought a part of it, was given a part of that land, from the slave master's wife after the Civil War. And so they grow tobacco on it. And so now we share crop on it. So the farmer, he grows tobacco, and then he rotates it out. I think it was soybean. and he just, pretty much paid. It's not a lot of money, but enough to get the taxes paid, and it's right there waterfront, so it's great, And right after the Civil War, my great 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 grandfather saved enough money that he bought his both of his two brothers oyster boats. So they were oyster farmers right
Wow.
there. So, entrepreneurs for the past, couple hundred years.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So that's in Virginia. Where's the farm your mom was raised on? Where's that
Farmers
one?
in Danville, Virginia,
Okay.
right, which is it's all the way across the state, right? My dad's side is in Gloucester, which is closer to it's like 10 minutes from Williamsburg, Virginia. If you're familiar with it. In Williamsburg, like 20 minutes from Hampton. My mom's side is the opposite end of the Virginia, which is Danville is on the border of North Carolina. It's like 40 minutes from Greensboro, 40 minutes from Durham another way, and like 50 minutes from Raleigh.
Got it. Got it. When you were a kid, did you have an opportunity to visit down there?
Oh, I went to Gloucester every summer. We were there every actually my fondest memories, my family get together at the house in Gloucester. So we have another house there. So
Hmm.
that's the 40 acres, but there's another house that's on 7 acres. And it's like an 8 bedroom house. It's in
Wow.
bad shape now, but it's still there. And so we still have that. So yeah, we'll go there every summer. I went to that land.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So, when you decided to start investing in real estate, what was your mentality like? Were you still kind of were you nervous as most people were, or were you like, my family has done this in some aspect for so many years, so I have some level of like confidence to take this step? Like, did that impact you at all when it came to investing in real estate?
No, it didn't. So because I had seen it for so long, I wasn't afraid. Plus, Philly is cheap. The the very first house that I bought, the only house I ever foreclosed on was that one. But otherwise, I'm buying a house for 18, 20,000. So it's no, it wasn't scary to buy a house for 18 grand. I could pay for that. But however, so no, it wasn't scary at all.
Definitely, definitely. So, talk to us about just that first deal when you decided, all right, I'm going to invest in real estate. I want to use this as one of my ways to build wealth. What was that experience like for you?
So the very first one that I bought was a rooming house, and I did the deal. And I was actually dead broke because I was a mortgage banker I was a mortgage broker, then mortgage banker. And then in '08, I kind of lost everything,
Hmm.
and in that time period, like everything was bad. Lost my business, lost everything. And so I did that deal. And the way I did the deal, I ended up walking away with some money. And so that gave me my opportunity to kind of come back and get on my feet. My license was suspended, so I had to pay to get my license back. So I could move after I had that property. And it's a 3-story house, and I ended up putting 8 bedrooms in it. So I'm making money hand over fist out of that place. I mean, super slumlord, super slumlord. Like it was bad. It was a terrible place. I'm embarrassed I even owned it, but it got me, over the hump. So, that was my first taste of cash flow, was really that property.
Definitely,
But it was tough, man. It was a bad place.
definitely, definitely. So, you took kind of a unique route, right? It sounds like you just rented out room by room, right?
Right. Each room. Yeah.
So, talk to us more about that decision. I think you also said you ended up making it an 8 bedroom. Why did you go that route versus like renting out to like a family or something?
So what happened is a friend of mine had the house and he was losing it. And so I ended up partnering with him, did the deal, we're renting the rooms out making money. Then I was like, listen, how about this? Let me just buy you out. And that was a deal. I ended up just buying him out and taking it over. And when I took him out, I added 2 more bedrooms to the first floor. First floor was just like an open living room. And so I added 2 more bedrooms down there. So if we do the math on that, so the mortgage on it was about like 950 or something like that a month. And so in the third floor, in the front bedroom, I was getting $100, middle bedroom 75, back bedroom 50. Second floor, I was getting $100 in the first bedroom, 75 in the middle, 150 for the back bedroom, was a double room. Then the first floor, I was getting 125 for the front room and 150 for the second room. They had a half bath. So I'm making a lot of money out of this place. And when I bought it, the the utilities weren't all the way connected it was in the right way. So I didn't have a utility bill. I did like no water, no electricity. I had to pay oil. There's an oil heater. I had to pay oil to heat the property up. But so I'm just killing it for a minute. I was getting busy at that one. I'm making thousands of dollars a month off that one property. So I was like, man, this is great until it wasn't. I'm saying so it went bad because I actually worked. I ended up getting a job in public housing. And so the projects I worked at was like 3 or 4 blocks away. So I could easily manage, I could run over, collect rent, what I gotta do, get back to work. Lunch break or not, it didn't matter. I could just run out, and come back. But it was very dangerous block, man. I was like food because come out there, it's like, the guys hustling outside. They knew I was collecting money. So every time I come out, I'm a target. I got thousands of dollars in my pocket in the middle of North Philly somewhere on a back block that's dark, so it was just and then it was a home invasion, was a bunch of stuff going on over there. They got into a fight with the neighborhood and the neighborhood stole the door. I'm like, yo, how did the neighborhood steal your door off the
A
house?
door?
They stole the front door. Stole the front door.
Wow.
Neighborhood, it's that kind of neighborhood I was in. And
Yeah.
then I actually had my kid and my risk tolerance went down and I moved, they transferred me to a different site all the way across in Southwest Philly called Bartram Village. And that commute, I couldn't manage it and it's got to be a lot. It got to be a lot. And I ended up just letting it go.
Got it. Makes sense. Makes sense. So so it sounds like you definitely had your hands full and had quite a few experiences with that particular property. So how did you rebound after that? What came next after that?
So I just kept buying, man. Even after the foreclosure, I had to do my wife's name, my name. We had to figure it out. I still kept, buying properties. I wasn't really flipping a lot. I mean, I would buy a rental and I wouldn't flip per se. I would like a year or some change, maybe sell it and, kind of upgrade. Because in my job, I was only making when I first started 405 a week, 401 a week actually when I first started. And then I got a raise like in 6 months to like 454 a week. Then it went to like 510. So I wasn't making a lot of money. So I couldn't like really leverage a whole lot, and buy more. And the crazy thing, man, is where I was at Blumberg Apartments, close from Philly. I know it was at 23rd and Jefferson. Somebody offered me a house across the street from the projects when I worked there for 7,000. A 3-story house is like 7,000. And I didn't. Well, I said no because there's like a lot of murder down there, really bad. And I didn't trust it. And then the house needed work, and I couldn't even figure out how to get 7,000. That house was demolished now, but if it was still there, easy 500,000. Easy 500,000.
Wow.
Easy. I'm probably, and if it was zone multifamily, 650.
Wow.
I don't know what the zone it was when I had it, but 7 grand, I could have bought it the whole block. Like they were giving houses away around there. Nobody wanted them.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was bad, But now, in a matter of less than 10 years later, crazy.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. So did you end up developing how did you start sourcing deals and financing them? Because you mentioned, your job, you were getting paid okay, but you think you alluded to this, you had to get a little bit creative with how to start buying more deals. So how did you do that?
Well, the deals were abundant in Philly. I mean, I was getting up to MLS. Like nobody, there was no term wholesaler. There wasn't a term when I started, right? Like BRR wasn't a term when I started. That was just what you do, right? You just refinance, get some money, and do it again. It wasn't a term,
Yeah.
right? It wasn't like I think I only knew one person that was wholesaling, and everybody thought it was illegal. Like you can't do that. You can't. Everybody thought, like nobody that wasn't the thing. He was the only person,
Yeah.
and he had a lot of money, but he was the only person doing it. But deals were abundant then. They were all over the MLS. You didn't have to look hard to find a deal anywhere. Like everything, I've done 20,000. Like I rarely spent more than $32,000
Yeah.
18,000, 22, all over the place. Now you can forget about it. That's not gonna happen.
Definitely, definitely. That's amazing. So as far as like Philly, is there a certain did you end up buying like throughout the city, or did you find like, all right, this neighborhood kind of has what I need, price wise, and I'm able to, do I need to do get somebody in there?
Yeah, so my moniker is Cobbs Creek League, right? Because that's where I focus. I mean, I was, pretty much raised in Cobbs Creek. My parents split. My other neighborhood is Powton Village slash the bottom, depending on who you're talking to. And so, but Cows Creek, which is a section of West Philly, this is the one neighborhood right where I live and where I work. And I was buying because I knew, so I wasn't brilliant. It just so happened that the neighborhood just really took off. Like, for instance, right, the house that I live in now is in Cows Creek, right? The house I'm sitting in now. Um, I bought it 7 years ago. It's 3 stories, 2,500 square feet, right? I bought it 7 years ago for 119, 117, something like that. It's worth probably 525 right now in a matter of 7 years.
That's like 5 times growth.
And I feel good about it. I feel good about it.
Yeah.
So and that's most of what I was buying was in the neighborhood. And I saw like similar, not as good as this one, but other really good returns in my other properties in the area.
Definitely. Did you when as you were purchasing in this area, it seemed like you were comfortable, you knew the area. Did it occur to you in your mind like what it could be in the future, or maybe development and stuff that was taking place, or you're just like, this is what I know, I'm gonna buy it, and you look down the road and things kind of blew up?
Nah, I was just buying what I knew. I
Yeah.
wasn't like, oh, it's going to take off because even right now, it doesn't look that different as I was growing up. Like the crime level is about on par as it was. It's just the complexion of some of the houses have changed. You know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
but you still hear gunshots from time to time. Like, fortunately, nobody on my block was murdered. But a couple blocks away, I heard some. They were shooting maybe 2 weeks ago. I heard from gunshots. I wasn't here. So it's not the crime level hasn't changed a lot, but the price point has changed a lot. I think what it is close to the university, the price is shot way up. And so, I say all the time that gentrification is what happens when white people need affordable housing, and it's just the houses down there just got so expensive that people can't afford it. And so they're just moving, as close as they can. It just happens to be this neighborhood.
Right. Right.
But the crime level, I'm telling you that it's about the same as when I was growing up. It's not that much. It's not not really lower. It's just
Yeah.
different.
Definitely. And what's that been like for you, just seeing the complexion of the area change over the years as a resident and as an investor? What has that experience been like for you?
I mean, so only thing I can tell you is what I don't like about it, right? What I don't like about it is the connotation. I'm talking to people, all of a sudden they want more for the house. They say, oh, this white person moved to this block, so and so riding their bike or walking their dog around there. And what that tells me is that they really didn't value themselves, right? They didn't value black people. The neighborhood, it's the same neighborhood. It's just if a black person was living there, they didn't value it way less. So now
Mhm.
all of a sudden, I had to buy a burnout for 45 grand, a couple of like a few months ago. Where that same house 2 years ago would have been 18,000, maybe even 15,000. But and I just don't like that. I just wish that people that were in the neighborhoods would actually value it more for them, or just look at the neighborhood for proximity, the amenities, whatever. Don't fight a neighborhood based off of what your neighbor looks like, but yeah, otherwise, there's some friction, right? There's some friction, like,
Mhm.
guys going to the park, but then the new people telling them, what they don't want to do in the neighborhood. I actually got into this, man. So here in Philly,
Mhm.
so the house that I was raised in, right, that my parents split, that house, my parents bought it in '78, right? Paid 5,000 for it. That house right now, once I got the variance to convert it to a 3-unit ARV, $1.1 million, right?
Wow.
And so in order to get a variance here, right? For people that don't know what a variance is I'm changing the use of the property. The property was used as a single family and it's zoned for single family. So because it's zoned and used as single family, I have to go to the city to get a variance. The city changed it up recently, maybe a year or two ago, where you have to go before RTO, which is a registered community organization. So I have to present my plan to this RCO, and if they support it, I can go to zoning. Most time, easy breezy, I'll get my variance. If they don't support it, then I'll go before the zoning board. Then it's higher likelihood that they won't approve my plans to convert. And so I'm in the meeting. Mind you, I grew up in this neighborhood. When my parents bought the house, it was one of probably only 4 houses on the block that were occupiable, all
Wow.
shells, including this one. And then for me to sit in front of this RCO with a room full of white folk, and they're telling me what they want to see in their neighborhood. I'm saying it's like, so yes, I resent that process. There's a guy, this white cat with a Chicago phone number, I'm saying, telling me what he wants to see in his neighborhood. So I have to ask this group of white people to do in my house that we were there in the tough times. We suffered through all of that, but you're benefiting from the time. And now every remedy they gave me, here's the thing, right? They wouldn't support a 3-unit.
Mm-hmm.
They said, okay, well, why don't you sell it? I'm not going to sell the property. I'm never going to sell the property. Okay. Well, why don't you, we'll support a 3-unit if you break it down as condos. I'm like, I don't want to sell the property. And I had to ask him in a meeting, like, why is every remedy you present have me selling the property? Why, what is it about me owning this property is a problem?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, we got through that, and they ended up, I made some concessions and ended up getting my 3-unit property out of it. But, that goes to show, like, when you're organized, like, you have that control. And now here are these people that weren't there when the block was abandoned,
Mm-hmm.
right? That weren't there with the shootouts, that weren't there with the break-ins, right? That weren't there, they weren't there on any of these things to say what they want to see in their neighborhood. And I'm there since 1978. It was a problem, right? And so, those types of things that happen when the complexion of a neighborhood changes.
Wow, that's wild. I can't imagine what that must have felt like.
And I was very, very angry. I was noticeably angry. I don't have a poker face, so they could see what it was.
Yeah, that's so wild. That's wow. I'm speechless, man. But I'm glad that eventually, I agree. It shouldn't have taken that much to get what it is you wanted, and I honestly don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of the remedies they did give was to basically take the property from you and make sure you sell it.
Yeah, not sell it. I'm like, no, I don't have to sell it. I don't need to sell it. I'm okay. Like, I don't need the money to do whatever. Should the property sat vacant for 5 years because I couldn't. I got it. My dad died, right? So I couldn't mentally handle it. I couldn't even go into the property without crying for like 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so now me finally, able to take it and get to it, and then have to sit through that very aggravating process. But that goes to show, man, ownership. If you don't own a neighborhood, you're not organized, and nobody care how long you live there. Do you own?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's it. Do you own? Are you organized?
Yeah. And to be honest with you, I feel like a lot of people, that's a conversation they're not really ready to have. It's happening in Black communities all over the country, right? Things that you're talking about, the complexion of the neighborhood changing, all these things. But the only reason you were able to go back and forth with these people, as frustrating as it was, is because you own the property. So you actually have a say. And your voice is louder and it's heard a bit more if you own in the area. So it is kind of a sad reality, but it is the reality. Like those who are renting, you just don't have that much of a voice in these things.
Right. And so let me tell you the concession. The concession was I had to make one unit at 80% of AMI for a period of 5 years, right? The average median income, which I was going to do it anyway, because where that house was, where the house is now, is on the borderline of two neighborhoods, right? There, when I said Powell versus Bottom, I know you asked, where this property sits is on the south side of Spring Garden Street. And so I was able to go to Powell, which is one of the best K-5 schools in the city. If I was born and lived 30 yards to the right across Spring Garden Street, I would have went to Big Michael, which is I'd had a total different educational experience.
Wow.
But just because my parents chose this house in this school district, I was able to go to one of the best one of the best top 5 easily K-5s, and then go to another magnet school, then get accepted to a magnet high school, get a scholarship to college. Whereas I went to McMichael, neighborhood school, I don't have any of the same opportunities that I had educationally if I'm born, lived 30 yards to the right across Spring Garden Street.
Wow.
And so my goal with this property was always to put somebody else in that maybe would not have an opportunity to go to the same school that I went to and had opportunities. Right. So I was always going to do that anyway. I got to make money too. Don't get me wrong. So I got 3 units. So I gotta gouge the other 2 units, right? So I can make sure the 3rd unit I can make money on. So this person gave an opportunity that I had to go to this amazing school. And it's still like that. Like Philadelphia is super segregated. So the zip code you live in 100% determines your quality education here. Right. And that's why I said like Cobb's Creek, the neighborhood Spike, it's specific, it's measurable. We know what happened. It was a school called Penn Alexander came. Mm-hmm. It's a public school, but they partnered with the University of Pennsylvania, and even it's a public school, they don't have any of the same requirements, right? They have like a 20-to-1 student-teacher ratio, whereas I went to an interview, my son is going to the 5th grade. I went to an interview and at his school, and even though it's a special mid school, they're like 31 kids per class. I'm like, we can't go there. But this school, in the public school, they have 21 to ratio. The school outperforms most of the schools in the city. But to go there, you had to live in this small catchment. And so what happened, people with kids bought in that catchment, or rent in that catchment, and the prices shot up, which in turn shot my prices up. And I'm like 7 blocks away from there.
Yeah.
I'm saying, right. And so, and because it's like that, I'm able to, and I'm an owner, I'm able to provide an opportunity for someone to live in my property that wouldn't have an opportunity to go to the same school, have the same experiences that I had.
Love it. Love it. So the plans are to make that property to a 3-unit. What does that process look like? You're going to pretty much gut the whole thing and go one by one?
Yeah, I gotta get the whole house out, and so I had some structural damage, so I had that done. Excuse me. I had some water penetration, so I had that done. I still got to do some more repairs to the roof, and so the house was built in 1899, and so it's a program here where it's a nonprofit, and they come through, they give you appraisal, and you had to deconstruct, right? So I have to like gently pull the trim and the doors, everything off, and I give it to them. I get like a crazy tax credit so that other people can use it when they are refurbishing houses. But I get a crazy tax credit for that. And so it's a slow process. It costs a little more to deconstruct, but it's well worth it in the end. But, I can't keep a lot of the old stuff for 2nd and 3rd floor. The 1st floor, I'm going to do my best to keep the original trim and most of the original stuff I'm trying to keep. But the upstairs is going to be all blown out, all brand new, everything else.
Are you looking for a community of like-minded individuals and access to experts in real estate?
Yeah.
Are you interested in real estate but need more support and guidance?
You know who it is?
The Black Real Estate Dialogue presents the Real Estate Investing Community. No matter how much or how little real estate experience you have, we've created a community for you because your perspective is important. All right, tell me, where's the number one place where you can do Q&A with experienced guest speakers 2 times per month? How about unlimited access to past guest speakers' recordings? What about a private Slack channel to engage in daily discussion with everybody in the community to share resources and support each other? Head on over to blackrealestatedialogue.com. That's blackrealestatedialogue.com. It's the real estate investing community presented by the Black Real Estate Dialogue. Come join us today.
Got it. What's the timeline on that? It sounds like a pretty big job.
It is a big job, but it still shouldn't take any more than 3 months. I think I have to do it. I've been slow walking it. I mean, I'm overwhelmed kind of thinking about it, honestly. And I had these other things, like I just bought these other vacant lots. I've been buying lots a lot lately. And I got a couple other projects I got to finish up before I get to it. But once I started, it shouldn't take any more than 3 months to do it. I mean, the frame is only going to take by the time I frame it out, maybe because the house is like 3,400 square feet. Maybe it'll take 3 days to frame it, maybe like a week to plumb it, like a week for electric, maybe maybe week and a half for HVAC. Then get the inspectors in, insulate sheetrock, and I'm out of there. It's not that crazy.
Got it. Talk to us more about, you mentioned that you bought some plots of land. Are those like in Philly or in other areas?
So I bought some last year in North Carolina. It was in Salem, but we put them on ice because of COVID everything. So we kind of put them on ice. But now we got the plans back from the architect last week. So we're working on the structural engineers. So we got partners on that one. So we could build up on those 3. Well, actually, it's 3 plots, but we're going to do one at a time. We're going to do all 3 at the same time. We decided to do one at a time. So we're going to work on the first one now. And then the ones in Philly, I have a partner on one of them, and we're going through the same variance process now, and to see if we get converted to a 2-unit. But to be honest with you, I'm not optimistic that neighborhood's going to support that one because it's a 2-story block. And we can by right go up to 38 feet, but it's not going to fit at all within the block. I mean, the only 3-story, for them supported to be a 2-unit, I'm not confident that it's going to happen. If it does happen, great. If it doesn't happen, we'll just build it as a single family and flip it. As a 2-family, probably keep it. Single family, we'll just go ahead and sell it off. I bought who MG Mortgage is? Familiar with him?
Yeah. I think I saw a post like you two are partnering on something, right?
Yeah. I've been knowing him for a long time. We went to college together.
Oh, cool. Where'd you go to school?
North Carolina Central University in Durham.
Oh, cool, nice.
Right. So I met him in '97, I think it was.
Man, I went to where was I? I was down there I think I was visiting in UNC, Duke, and somebody I knew invited me to a homecoming there. So I got to hang out there for a little bit. It's probably 4 years ago or something.
At Duke's homecoming or Central?
Central.
Oh, I was there. And 4 years ago, I was there. So
wow, we probably crossed paths.
Central homecoming is special, man.
Yeah.
It's a special homecoming. Yeah. So, being there and doing Duke's campus, UNC, the whole area. Right. So I met him in those days when we were young and dumb, running the streets doing stupid stuff. Right. So I've been knowing him forever. And so we decided to partner up on these deals. And we bought one parcel we could build 9 units on. And then we just settled. We could go on 2 more parcels. We could put 8 units on. 4 units. The first parcel is 9 units, and the second 2 parcels is 4 units apiece, right, to build 4. And so that one, we already had the plans for the 4 unit. We have to, so we have to just submit the plans, and we'll be building those out soon.
Got it. So talk to us about how you transition from like real estate investor, landlord, and get into like development, something we haven't really had many guests make that transition necessarily. And it sounds like you're well on your way and you have done it. What was that transition like, and how did you even find out how to do it?
So I'm learning how to do it right now.
Yeah.
I'm a little scared. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like I've done it before, and I spent a lot of money, but I had to burn a bridge, right? I knew that like I might not make any money in 2022 because everything that I'm buying is a vacant lot. I haven't bought any houses at all. I had one house that I had for some months, and I made and the one, of course, the one that I was raised in, I'm going to rehab that one. There's other house that I've been like kind of land banking, so I may do that. But otherwise, I might not make any money in 2022. Every last thing that I bought is a vacant lot, and it's going to take time to build, right? And so I knew that for me to get to that level, I couldn't keep doing what I've been doing all these years. I had to just sever my ties with the single family or smaller projects. I had to. But the reason why I made that transition, one is that I can still get a decent value in lots. People don't really appreciate them as much. So and the competition isn't there because there aren't a lot of people building new construction, at least now in like the gentrified areas that's already worth 400, 500, a lot of competition. Where I'm buying is outside of that. There's no competition. Like I might, like I said, like I'm getting really good prices. Like for instance, I bought one for 2,500. That's unheard of. You know,
2,500?
2,500, and
Wow.
that one is a commercial mixed use, right? So once again, everything in Philly, if it's not on except for CMX1, like everything is by right 38 feet, right? And so for this lot, I'm going to put a storefront and a bot level apartment. I can only do 2 units, but I can go 38 feet. So I can do a bot level apartment.
Mhm.
So I have the storefront, and I can't do the whole building commercial. If I do the whole building commercial, I gotta put an elevator in. So I could do commercial on the first floor. I don't need an elevator. So commercial on the first floor, be storefront, and I'm gonna put a bot level apartment there. And then I'll just, rent that out however I do that one. I bought another one. The lot is on 2,600 square feet. It is zone single family. I bought that one for 11,000. If I go through the variance process, that lot could actually support 6 units. I don't think I'll get the support for 6, but even if I get 3, I paid $11,000 for basically a building, and I'm building it at cost. If it cost me $120 a square foot, right? And let's say I build it 2,000 square feet, or say 2,500 square feet, or so, then that's what's that? About less than 300,000 for a 3 unit new construction, easily appraised just under 600,000. So I'll still be getting like a $200,000 equity in that project, right? So, and like understanding these numbers, like, you know what, I gotta go new construction. I have to, because otherwise I'm still buying these little raggedy single-family houses for $40,000. Still, these houses are all 70, 80 years old, so you still got to put $100,000 into them. These are not lipstick houses, because even let's say somebody grandma lived there. Like your grandma lives there, the lights work, the plumbing work, the heat comes on. It's still a shell,
Yeah.
because the electric is not been tubed, 50 years old, right? The plumbing is copper. It's oxygenated. That's a word. Is rusted out. Is going to replace that. The heating system 20 years old. I got to put in central air. So it's a shell. And so, yeah, I got to put in $100,000, like maybe 70,000. If I don't finish the basement, smaller property, maybe $70,000 rehab, right? I can't. And so before I spend $100,000 on this raggedy house in the hood, let me go ahead and get this lot for 10, 15 and do new construction. And then that value going to be 600,000 when I'm done versus 150.
That's
But it's
smart.
gonna take a year though, and Philly might
Yeah.
take a year to do it. Like I was down. I don't know. Resident Builder, Chattanooga.
Yeah. I had him on the show like maybe I think last summer, maybe summer
Yeah,
2020 or spring.
Reg just special. I met him I went to Chattanooga,
Wow.
and he's building houses in 6 weeks. I can't do that here. There's so much regulation here. Union City, it's a lot. We can't get houses in 6 weeks like he's done.
Wow, that's amazing. So basically the process to like go new construction, is it in Philly at least, is it like a lot of red tape, a lot of processes and the city and this, that, and the other?
Especially if you're getting a variance. Not getting a variance is a little bit easier. But for me having to get a variance, it's going to take me like 4 months before I even get the shovel in the ground. I'm saying it's like, but if I'm doing it by right, I might actually start. If you do something by right, you can actually get it done pretty quickly. It might only take you a month and a half to get your permits to build, and maybe it takes you like 3 or 4 months to build. So it's not that bad if it's by right. But I'm building like, and also you have to wait for, you can't even apply for your permit until you get the plans back and the engineer stamp. They're all busy. So it might take you 2 months to get the plans back, from the engineer. So so it might take you a year to get the house up. Like by the time you get the plans and permits and start, I take about a year.
Definitely.
To do it.
Definitely. That
But it's
makes
worth
sense.
it though. It's worth
Yeah.
it.
I mean, it sounds worth it compared to, buying a single family home, as you mentioned, and, doing the rehab. And at the end it's worth maybe 100 something. Whereas the cost to build doesn't seem like it'll be that much more, and it'll be worth way more in the end. So it's almost like you get to that big appreciation or that big value a lot quicker. It takes longer in the beginning, but when it's done, it sounds like it's worth it.
And here's the thing, right? A rehabbed house right next door to a new construction house, same square footage, the new construction is going to pay for more just because it's new construction. Even though the rehabbed house is built with brick, I'm saying, and stone, where the new construction house is chipboard. It's a chipboard and siding, but it's just new, so it's going to get higher value. And that's in 50 years, the brick house is still going to be there. That new construction is not. 50 years new construction, the chipboard and siding is going to be done. It's not going to still be there. You got to redo it again. 50 years, and that right there is an exciting opportunity to know that these houses are built so poorly. You got to redo them in 50 years. Oh my God, there's going to be so much money in Philly in the next 50, 80 years.
Oh man, that's funny. So talk to us about Cash Flow Bros. And I've been seeing Cash Flow Bros a lot on the internet the last several months or so. So talk to us more about Cash Flow Bros and everything that's involved.
Yeah, so the Cash Flow Bros, like I said, be my partner, Justin, JES Capital. And so it started, so me and him, we met actually at a poker game a couple years ago. And then we started to work together, and because he was a realtor, I was a realtor. He was just kind of getting started in his flipping. I was a little more advanced, and we just put the relationship. And then prior to COVID, so he's a godfather. He had a course called Real Estate Swag. When I met him, man, it would be like 4 or 5 years ago. But he couldn't get it to take off. And this was pre all the course explosion, right? And he just couldn't figure out how to get it to go. And then during COVID, I decided to get into the education space. And so he already had his going, but it wasn't going well. And I saw how much work it was. It was like, why not partner? We're marketing to the same audience anyway. Like, let's split the burden up. We have a different perspective, a different skill set, and we'll bring it together and do this thing. And the goal was to be the mentors that we wish we had. Like maybe I wouldn't go through that foreclosure. Maybe I wouldn't have had to, put that tenant in there. Maybe I'd have financed differently. Maybe I went to business credit faster. Like these things, we had mentorship. So we want to be the mentors that we never had, right? And the reason we Cash Flow Bros is we didn't want to pigeonhole ourselves. Like my name, Instagram, is Real Estate Coach Carter. I feel like I'm kind of pigeonholed in that way. I can't change it now. And so we Cash Flow Bros because it's not about just real estate. Real estate is our main investment. Real estate is what gives us the cash flow. It was what gives us the lump sum to invest in other things. Both of us have a nice stock portfolio. We both trade options. We both do crypto. Sorry, we both have other, digital businesses. So it's just cash flow, right? When it comes down to it, is I tell people you get the cash flow from real estate, and then you invest it mainly in the stock market to watch that money really scale up, right? And so, and that's how your money to really, that's how you get your 800,000 a month to really work for you, right? Now you put it over here, and if you're doing options, maybe you get 30, a quick 30% or 100% or whatever you get. I have positions that I cashed out last month. I was up 500%, but I was able to put the money in from real estate and then go for my earned income. And so that's what we do. We take the real estate money and reinvest it, whether it's infinite banking, using infinite banking for whatever, purpose you want to use it for, but mainly, I pretty much have money coming from my real estate going into cryptocurrency. I don't buy NFT. I have NFTs, but I don't buy NFTs anymore. And my stock portfolio, whether it's options, long-term options, or whether it's white whole stock, and that's it. And with that, for my strategy, what that came from is when I was working in public housing, and in a period of about 18 months, about 12 of my tenants got murdered. Right, it was really bad. It was a really bad year and a half. And I'm like, okay, how can we stop these kids from killing each other? And so I really put together this formula, right? And I'm thinking about it. All right, if you don't have any skills, say you're making about $30,000 a year or so, you can really buy one multifamily a year over the course of 20 years. You got 40 doors. If you at least get $500 per building, you got 10,000 a month, right? I'm 43. If I knew that I was going to have $10,000 a month at this time period, I'd make different decisions, right? And then when you look at with the stock market, if you just use one of those doors and you say $500 a month and just put that in the stock market, like a S&P, put something that follows the S&P, that's going to pay you back about 8%, because the S&P has been paying back about 8% since 1967, right? So an average of 8% is very realistic. So if you did $500 a month, then basically from 20 to 40, you got 40 doors, $10,000 a month, and you're going to have about $380,000 in liquid. I didn't say anything about your other job income. I didn't say anything about the other 19 doors. You're not saying anything about all that stuff. So you still have all of that. But, it's like, how can I show these kids that they don't have to make a lot of money to make a lot of money? And so that's the formula I came up with, and that's the formula I've been pushing for years, and that's why we are the Cash Flow Bros, all cash flow.
Love it. And then you two offer coaching as well as part of it, right?
Right, we do offer coaching. So what we realizing is that people don't have money, right? So it's gonna be hard for a lot of people to just go in and put 20% down. So we want to show people, how to buy that multi-family first, even if it is a cheaper market. That's why, I like what you're doing. The reason why I'm able to buy out of state in North Carolina is the confidence that Reg gave me when I went to Chattanooga. A lot of confidence he gave me to build stuff out of state, how to build in a smaller market, watching what he's doing. And so we definitely teach people all of our strategies, and Justin is a contractor. So how to manage your properties, how to not get ripped up by the contractor, how to save money on projects, how to lease it out, how to screen your tenants so you're not having to get people out. And then most importantly is how to find a deal, right? There's nothing more important in this business than how to find a deal. If you buy the deal right, you can mess up on everything else and still make money. I'm saying I did the deal this year. I did the deal. I did a subject to my first time doing a subject two. I fumbled it bad. I'm terrible. I did everything wrong, and I ended up having to get rid of the house. But I still made 100,000 when I sold it. I'm
Wow.
saying because I know how to buy right. So I turned a fumble into a nice hefty bag. And that's what we try to like show people like how to find the deal. Nothing more important, how to evaluate it. And we put it in the package and we do a webinar on Wednesdays. So if anybody, if I can say it on here, you put it
Yeah.
down, whatever. It's cashflowwaitlist.com, www.cashflowwaitlist.com. And every Wednesday we do a free webinar explaining how we got to the business and how everybody should be also in the business.
Definitely, man. I need 100K bag fumble next year.
Man, listen, and I fumbled away into 100,000, and I was so happy. I was so happy. 'Cause I thought I was gonna lose. Honestly, I thought I was gonna lose the property. I thought I was gonna lose it, but it worked out perfectly, and I got 100,000. It worked.
Love it, man. That's amazing. That's amazing, man. So you just have a lot of great experiences, a lot of great stories. I feel like I got a history lesson on Philly and just how different things work real estate wise and with the neighborhoods and how things have changed, which is great, which I really appreciate. So what does the future look like for you? I know you're gonna get big into the development in Philly, and you mentioned some of the out of state. Is that primarily what you're focused on in addition to cash flow bros? Is there anything else you plan to do?
So, to be honest, the reason why I was even doing work in North Carolina is because I had 1 foot out of Philadelphia until I actually turned around and looked at what's happening here. I can't like it's entirely too much money. In my opinion, Philadelphia is the best market in the country, but you won't know that. In 36 months, you can look back like, damn, Malik, I think you might have been right. Right? You don't see it. Like a lot of people going to Cleveland, a lot of people going to Detroit, people going to all these other markets. They're going to Baltimore heavy. And I like all those markets. We missed the Austin, Texas run. But I'm gonna tell you this right here, man. I'm gonna give all your listeners a huge gem. Philadelphia has a new nickname that you're going to start hearing about it soon, and it's called Silicon Valley. Right? You heard of Silicon Valley in the Bay. Philadelphia is Silicon Valley, right? Because we've had more innovation on cellular therapy than anywhere else in the nation. There's Listen to this stat, man. There's 1 million square feet of lab space being built right now in Philly, and 500,000 square feet in the suburbs of Philly. I posted on my page just yesterday. There's a company called Spark Therapeutics. They were just bought out by a company called Roche for $4.3 billion. They're about to build right at 30th Street. They're going to build a larger facility and employ 500 people. While Roche bought them, they cured a form of blindness.
Wow.
They're curing blindness because it's insane what they're able to do. And anybody understands CRISPR technology. If you don't understand CRISPR, look it up. It's what's changing the world. And Philadelphia is at the forefront of everything biotech. And then that's just the biotech scene, right? And then when you think of logistics, I was reading an article maybe like a month or two ago, and it said that Philadelphia is within 2 hours of 49 million people, right? So you understand why the last mile delivery, why there's a facility being built on the waterfront. They're building 12 million square feet of warehouse space off of logistics. So when you're ordering your Amazon, it's probably going to come from Philly. If you're within 2 hours, it's probably going to come from Philly. So every other company that does any kind of fulfillment, they're going to be based out of Philly. Yeah, Philly, and just those couple of things that I told you, in the next 24 months, that's 50,000 jobs coming to Philly.
Wow.
for the next 20. Now, I didn't say 5, 10. No, in the next 24 months, there's 50,000 new well-paying jobs coming to Philly. I can't go nowhere, man. It's too much money to get. I'm here. I'm here for a while until all the stuff plays out how I know it's going to play out. I'm just going to go ahead and keep acquiring my stuff, and I'm going to keep buying the hood because it don't matter, because eventually the hood won't be the hood. And I'll be seeing these same returns like this house that I'm in right now. But it's only going to be even better.
Man,
Philly is it.
Man, it's going to be a hub pretty soon.
Telling you that, but in the next 3 years, you'll be like, damn, Lee, you was right. Philly probably is the best market, And listen, man, so do you remember? I mean, you probably remember, maybe your listeners won't, but Washington, D.C.'s nickname.
Chocolate City, or was there another one?
It was Chocolate City. You ain't heard Chocolate City in a long time.
Long time.
And so, and Philly is right behind it. Philly's right behind it. You're not going to, all these whole neighborhood changes and man, things are changing in city Philadelphia, and like every inner city in the country is really rebuilding themselves. They all are. It's not like you go any inner, they're all rebuilding themselves. But yeah, for me, right now, Philly, I get to New York. New York is 90 miles away. I could take I take a train. That the bus is like $22 round trip. I'm gonna go to New York. A lot of people live in Philly and work in New York.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people commute because they just get a rail pass. Like Amtrak is like $80, but the regional rail is like $30 for the train. 2 hours. Wake up early, go to sleep. Go to sleep on the train. Wake up, you at work. Easy call. I sold the house 2 blocks away from where I am now. It was a younger husband and wife. The wife got a job here in Philly, but the husband still works in DC. So he commutes to DC 2 or 3 times a week to go to work. It's like probably like 2.5 hours or so.
Wow.
Nah, Philly, man. Philly is it.
Man, I'm about to come back to this episode 3 years from now.
Yeah,
like, man, Malik was right.
Replay. I'm telling you, a lot of people getting rich in Philadelphia real estate, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, like I was telling you off camera, man, I don't remember how many people I've had from Philly on a pop over 5, but everybody's doing well. And I mean, it's not an accident. It's not a coincidence.
It's not. The people that are doing it, the people that are consistent. The thing is young bulls. These bulls is like in their 20s, man. They getting it. They just buying these houses, renovate them. You got like New, Dub, Reek, Aisha, Tia. Justin, Jimmy, a lot of people, man. These are people that are known on social media that are making millions in Philadelphia real estate. It's here for the taking. And it's abundant. It's not like by me saying this on the show, I can invite 100 more people here and it's still money for everybody.
Yeah.
Right? Philly has 40,000 vacant parcels. I'm not buying 40,000 lots, 40,000 houses. And then the thing like that, everybody that come, they buy the houses. I don't want the houses. I want the lots. My competition ain't there. Yeah. And then by the time people start buying the lots, I'm going to be buying bigger lots.
Right. You can't lose, man.
Yeah, the competition's not there. But listen, the higher you go, the less competition. If you wanna buy, let's measure it right now, right? In the markets that you're in, if a house comes in the market, it's 30, 40, 50,000. Everybody got that, right? But if you see your apartment building is 200 units, that's 3 million. Everybody ain't got that. You're not going to have a bidding war in the same where you are on the top $50,000, right? So yeah, the higher the more money you got to spend, less competition. So I'm going to keep going up so the air is clear.
I like that. Definitely, man. Man, this has been a jam-packed interview. Whole lot of game, whole lot of wisdom and great stories. And it's just great to hear about just where your family started and the fact that they still have the land and farms and such from from hundreds of years ago, which is great. And it's great to see how you've bounced back from some struggles early on in your real estate career to buying a whole bunch of properties and now getting into the development and the education space. So, I'm excited to see where you go in the next couple of years. And I know our listeners are going to gain a whole lot of game out of this as well. So really, really appreciate you coming on tonight, man.
Now, listen, thanks for having me. I hope you guys enjoy it. It was fun for me too. We'll do it again. And listen, have me back in 3 years. You can talk about it.
I know, right? I know. We gotta get that on the calendar, man. Is there anything else you want to leave the listeners with? And also, please let us know again, where we can find you, keep up with what you have going on. Also, where we can find and keep up with Cash Flow Bros too.
All right, yeah, appreciate it. So my personal Instagram is at realestate_coach_Carter. I'm there. I respond to most DMs. Not timely always, but I do respond. We also have every Wednesday night, Justin and I do have a live webinar at Cash Flow Waitlist. And that's really the only two things that I'm pushing, on two things that I'm doing. Tap in with me on Instagram. Cash Flow Bros is at cashflow_bros. I'm not that active on that, but I will. But my personal Instagram I'm always on that. You reach me there.
Definitely love it, man. Definitely appreciate you jumping on again, and appreciate everyone for listening to another episode of the Black Real Estate Dialogue podcast. Hi everyone, Sam here from the Black Real Estate Dialogue. Make sure to hit that notification bell and that subscribe button, and to visit us at blackrealestatedialogue.com.